Welcome to Breaking Barriers, the art of free gamified security training. My name is Joseph. I'll tell you more about me at the end because what's more important is to get started. So I want to start with a question. Who believes in the vision that software security should start from developers? Raise your hands. Exactly. And how satisfied are you with the trainings that you know of up to now in achieving that vision? If you are from 7 to 10, please raise your hands. Maybe you are in the wrong room if you are very satisfied, but those that are dissatisfied from 1 to 6, raise your hands. Exactly. So these aligns with what we hear from the developers around the world that told us that trainings outside of the dev environment are less realistic. They are fed up with this software that has some 4 answers, kind of the TV show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, because in the real world, the answers are not finite and you have no guarantees that if you fix something, you are gonna fix it without opening the door to other problems. Also, there are a lot of theory-based trainings that, myself included, I press the next button blindly, trying to figure out ways to spend the least amount of time possible. And finally, there's a need of training personalization, but the number one things that made these trainings unsuccessful is that they are boring. And we decided to have a go as GitHub Security Lab in this. And before I show you what we did and the impact of it, I want to show you a case study. I want to tell you a story that has nothing to do with the game. The game is the end game in this story. Starting with a startup that is in prop tech. Somebody can ask, what the hell is prop tech now? I knew fintech and so on. Okay, so this company is based in Canada and they are centralizing authorization and access control for buildings. So when you get an access card, you have this in a SaaS company. They are growing fast. They went from 5 people to 150 in like this. And they started to use GAS, which starts from GitHub Advanced Security. It has code scanning, secret scanning, and supply chain security. So when they scan their code at the first time, they were given a fancy dashboard that when it's empty looks like this. Now we are before the game days. I just need to show you the problem they had. So this dashboard includes secrets, vulnerabilities, and dependencies. And what I want you to remember is that you have some colors, right? You have the red for critical, the orange for highs, yellow for medium, and the blue for lows. And the first time they did this in December 2022, the surface area of the big problems was high. So you see the red here is a lot of orange, some yellows and some blues. And after 3 months, they reduced the yellows in half and the blues in half. And somebody can say, that's good, right? But in reality, it's not, because this is low and medium, it's straightforward, automated in nature, driven by the security team. And it's just like some products are driving this. And after a few months, before that, the CISO wasn't happy at all because their vision was to empower developers to be autonomous. And in their words, I don't like the word resourceful, but it's what it is, as resourceful as the security team, so that they are a force multiplier in this startup for the wider business, right? It's a company that pays the money they have from the investment to grow, not to be 100% secure at the time. And then we see the same company a few months later in August 2023, with just 18 alerts. Somebody might be, amazing. It's not the case. So these alerts, while they were high and critical in nature, you see the red and the orange gone down, complex and strategic to fix because they are touching on design and so on. The main driver that made this to drop was office hours. And I'm talking about a long time, okay? They had a meeting that started with 30 minutes, and after 2 weeks, it jumped in 2 hours plus every single week from March to August. That made the whole company unproductive in their own words. It's something that is unsustainable as the company grows, risky for security, and makes the vision I showed you impossible. compared to like Mission Impossible, I switched to Vision Impossible. And this is bad for security because if you are defending a company, you have to succeed in defending in every single area. But the attackers need to succeed once. It can be successful in anything. And we are having a company that grows in terms of supply chain, customers, and so on, in terms of employees, in terms of their code base. And as the code base increases and all the other parameters increase, the attack surface increases as well. So they are having some decisions to make. Do we continue in the way we continue and nobody can guarantee what the future is? Since we are growing exponentially, maybe the vulnerabilities are growing exponentially. And there's another statistic I want to share. This blew my mind. I have to search it more. It was yesterday I found it. It goes by 60% of the small, medium enterprises that were breached in USA at a specific year, I'm not gonna say more, have closed within 6 months. So this was the next slide I'll put in another presentation, but I wanted to share this today. So the decision they had to make was, let's do something to attack this problem we have. And because they had gas and they are GitHub followers and so on, they found the secure code game, which I'm here to talk about today. And after talking with us and coordinating with us, they created the first of its kind secure code game hackathon in Vancouver in August 2023 by bringing together senior and junior developers in teams of 2 so that they solve these problems. Okay, what is the game? The game started by my team like 1.5 years ago. It's a security lab initiative providing an in-repo learning experience where learners secure intentionally vulnerable code. Right now it has 2,000 stars and 6,000 plus active players on GitHub. It's fully free and it takes a minute to set it up because of GitHub Codespaces, which is a virtual machine in the browser. I'll show you now. With Codespaces, you have 60 hours for free every month, which is a lot of time to finish the game more than once. Okay, so someone can navigate to this free website called skills.github.com. It's a collection of free training that we put for our fans around the world. And this is a template repository that someone can click on the template. They can choose to be the owner. They can give it a name. And then I'll show you at the end what is the difference between public and private other than the visibility of the repo. And when they click create repository, they are gonna have a fresh fork of this template repo in their own repo. As you see here, it's me. And then I'm just gonna open Codespaces with a click of a button. I'm inside my browser and my code editor, which is Visual Studio, is gonna synchronize my settings, my extensions, my tabs versus spaces kind of things on my browser. And after this opens with all the extensions being installed for you behind the scenes, you have a fresh installation. It takes less than 2 minutes, depends on your internet connection. Now, after I create the code space, and here is in real time being set up, you are gonna arrive in this environment here. As you see, you have some file structure, which is the same for every level and every season. We have 2 seasons, by the way. The first season was created by me, and as my programming language skills are not like the best and not in every language, I knew Python, so I created Python. And there's 1 level in C that I also created, but season 2 was created by our community. So you have levels in JavaScript, Python, GitHub Actions, and Go. Every level has the same file structure, which is the following. You get a code file, and the code file has, let's go back. Okay, so the code file, code.py here, includes code that is functional, but is vulnerable. And then you get a test file that includes the unit tests that, as you see, they initially pass. And then you have a hack file that it fails initially to show you that something is wrong. And you can go to the next level when both the hack file and the tests pass. You are given a hint and a model solution with a long explanation with references and so on. And as the levels progress, the game gets more difficult. But season 2 level 1 is as difficult as season 1 level 1. We have a contribution guideline as well for those who want to contribute. And let's continue. I told you about the difference between public and private. Those who want to have it public can benefit from GitHub Advanced Security, which includes code scanning. They can see some alerts, and maybe if they are stuck, they can go back and fix something. And autofix, which is an AI automatic fix suggestion that we have, is something that you might get. But again, since you are learning, I suggest that you are learning. So maybe you have the visibility to private. Same for Copilot. Since you are learning, don't enable AI. Back to the company, the engineers had fun. At least it wasn't boring for them, and the company noticed from the qualitative side an increased sense of ownership among the developers and a willingness to learn. They were pinging the security engineers more basically to give them more references to other trainings. And on the quantitative side, and this is what I love about that company, is that until 2 weeks ago that I checked with them for the purpose of this talk, they had 7 open security alerts. And they spent less than 15 minutes bi-weekly in these office hours that used to be like 2 hours with the whole time to fix things 4 hours plus. The CISO considers the vision as achieved. The company thinks they are in a sustainable growth path in terms of the code base growing and the security following that, with no alert spikes, and this secure code game with some customized differences. It's open source, they forked it, they created their own levels. Some levels they contributed to us. It's level 2, season 2, level 4, season 2. I told you the opposite way, season 2, level 2, season 2, level 4. It has become ongoing training for the new developers in the company. And if we quantify a bit, they had 180 open security alerts down to 7. It's a 96% improvement. And the 4 hours down to 15 minutes bi-weekly is 97% improvement. The most important thing for me is this one. 9 out of 10 developers think that they can now take security issues autonomously, achieving the vision of empowering them to be a force multiplier for the security team. The security team can focus on more things than code security. Now, there are some universities that are using our game. This is the Novi Sad University in Serbia, the technical faculty of it, the comp sci degree. And the professor, Erwin, observed that it's a more efficient way for him to share the knowledge compared to the classic passive delivery in the class. He splits the class around 100 students in groups of 5. They play a level of the game, and then he teaches them the concepts after they experience them. This way, he believes that the students are gonna be the next generation of developers, and they are not gonna have security as an afterthought that is then bolted in because it's late and too risky. Again, similar to the previous talk, I wanna touch a bit on gamification that is everywhere around us. The market of gamification is getting bigger and bigger. Just before COVID, it was on the 9 billions, and it's kind of quadrupled, 3.5 times more by next year, which is a delta of 21 billion. It's around us in the sense that companies that you might not think they are gamified, they are. So when you get coffees and you get these loyalty stamps, when you are on social media, the like button and the follow button is a form of gamification because they enforce good behavior. So you do something and you get something. Points, communities, getting some boring or not boring trainings and splitting it down into stamps and achievements. And what makes it work is our emotions, my research shows that it comes down to dopamine because of happiness, intrigue, and excitement that we get out of this. For instance, we feel that we have user control. I love the game of Rockstar, Vice City, GTA, and so on. And you know, I move the car in freedom in a specific finite map they gave me. It's not that I drive it everywhere. So I'm treated into this. There's a known reward and pay way. I'm gonna spend $20, I'm gonna get 20 points so that I can fly in the future. Good behavior, you get something as a result of something else. You achieved something, like, oh, I passed the level, I'm past the season. There's competition. Again, this company that we saw, the Canadian one, had a level of competition. You can escape and explore. There's teamwork and collaboration. And finally, I put everything in this single diagram here on why gamification works and on why you can take things that are not so popular, like software security, and achieve something meaningful. Our proposal here, again, is open source, which makes it free. We have a community of people that try to contribute or at least help. It's developer first because it's in a repo. It's what developers love to be at in that environment. Customizable, you can fork it, you can name it whatever you like. You can change the variable names if you don't like mine. It's hands-on and gamified. And back to the initial problem statement we had, we tried to attack every single comment here. You can have a go and see how well we did it. So I invite you to not miss the chance to try it out, to test your skills, because spotting the problem is not enough. Fixing a problem in security is a different story, is a different skill. It might not be a fix if you didn't test it. You can try code scanning if you so want to get security alerts and auto fix. You can try GitHub Copilot if you have a license, and all the rest is free. And code spaces, you can play with 60 hours free per month. If you want to download offline and install the dependencies, okay, you can do that. And finally, reminder, we welcome your contributions. As Denise said, who is our main contributor, he contributes to Secure Code Game because for him it means to have an impact in the wider security world. And some of the levels in level 2 are inspired by real life scenarios. Actually, all the levels are inspired by real life scenarios because we give a story. Like season 1, level 1 is a company, a shop that didn't want to just have clients in a local neighborhood before Black Friday and Cyber Monday. They wanted to expand to the whole country, and they set up an e-commerce website very fast without a lot of budget for security. Finally, this is me. I'm part of the GitHub Security Lab, and I try to democratize our research, that is security research, through these talks, through the game, through some videos I do. My personal security research in the past 1.5 years is in the intersection of AI and security. I have different talks about this subject. And I'm coming from the GitHub Security Lab, which has as a mission to inspire and enable the community to secure the open source software we all depend on. We are part of the OpenSSF. And if we quantify our research, while we found more than 1,000 security issues in the past 4 years, 600 plus have been given CVEs, and around 97% of these have been fixed by the maintainers around the world. So super proud about our impact. You can follow us on X, formerly Twitter, at GH Security Lab, where we publish our research, our content, whatever you need to know about us. So thank you. We have a minute for questions, but we have hours outside. I'm sticking around, and if you follow me, you can chat with me also online. So thank you.